Yes, is it clear? Adaptive control with constraints. That example is quite very helpful. Okay, this cutting force example, because we are applying it to turning, right? So, and this is applied to this material SAE 1045 steel. Okay, so these are the response. This is the response charts. We want to have a constant load, and depth of cut as it was varying, feed rate was changed accordingly. Okay, so that's what this adaptive control technology does without our calculations, right? Those complicated calculations are left with the computer. Okay, fine. So this is what was your adaptive control with constraints. Okay. Yes, this we covered, right? This slide. Now you see adaptive control with optimization. This is your second category. So in this, adaptive control with optimization system for NC machine tools is a control system that optimizes performance index subject to various constraints. So this is the gist of it, that you want to optimize what you want to optimize the performance index. Okay, there is this thing called performance index. We'll see how we will calculate that. So you want to optimize this performance index, right? And considering the various constraints. Okay, it is basically a sophisticated closed loop control system which automatically works in optimum conditions even in the presence of workpiece and tool metal variation. So even there are variations in the tool material and workpiece, you're trying to ensure that the system works in optimum conditions. Okay, you see, this is adaptive control optimization system applied to a milling machine. Okay, milling, basically applied to milling, you can say. So you see, starts with here, numerical control system, right? It sends, just as we had seen in the turning example, it was sending the position and speed commands, right, to the machine tool. When it is being performed, the position feedback is also taken. And these sensors will sense all these things. It will check the torque, temperature, vibration, all these characteristics are checked. And the data reduction subsystem will take those values, right? So all those values obtained from the sensors will be taken by this data reduction subsystem. And you see, it will give out two things. It will calculate the tool wear rate and the material removal rate, right? Based out of the formulas given to it, the strategy or the algorithm given, it will calculate the tool wear rate and the material removal rate. Okay. And that will be taken by a performance computer. What will happen there is you're trying to ensure that basically that performance index, yes, the performance index will calculate and will try to optimize that, right? So basically what will happen is, let me first explain you the formulas. Okay, so this optimization computer will do corrections of what? Feed and speed, right? That's what is important in the context of milling. Feed rate has to be corrected, speed also has to be corrected, right? So numerical control system, it will take that and it will make the required changes, isn't it? The program dimensional data, feed rate or spindle speed, this was fed as per the standard part program, right? As per the standard part program, this was fed, but based out of corrections here, this adaptive control technology is ensuring that feed rate and speed rate are corrected, right? Time and again. You see, material removal rate, MRR, how is it calculated? When it comes to milling, product of WAV. What are those? W is the milling width, okay, the width of milling. A is the depth of cut you're giving. V is the milling feed rate, right? Inches per minute, as we talk about. How many inches are you moving? How many inches the tool is moving? So you multiply the product of these two, three, I'm sorry. You see, milling width, if this is the part, right? This is your workpiece. I'm sorry, this is that tool, right? What is the milling width? This one, right? This tool is moving like this. Okay, this is your milling width. Depth of cut is in the plane perpendicular to the screen, right? So that is your depth of cut, milling width, right? And multiplied by the feed rate. So this multiplication of this will give you the material removal rate, right? MRR is what we call it here. So that is how you calculate the MRR. Okay, fine. What is TWR? Tool wear rate. Okay, tool wear rate, TWR, is calculated by this formula. K1 times MRR plus K2 times theta plus K3 times dt by t. What are those terms? K1, K2, K3 are constants, okay, which depend on the tool and workpiece material. So these are constants. We'll obtain them from experiments. Okay, this is one drawback of the system, that you have to perform the experiments to know the constants K1, K2, K3. Okay, tool and workpiece material. Other thing, theta is the tool temperature, right? Very simple, tool temperature. This will be measured by the sensor, isn't it? dt by t is the time rate of change of the cutting torque. How is the torque changing with respect to time? That is what this term means. So you calculate the tool wear rate based out of this. Okay. But remember, tool wear rate has a formula here. Okay. That's what will come as a drawback when we discuss this. Okay. In the later stage. Now you see, when those are calculated, tool wear rate and material remove rate are calculated. Those signals are fed into a performance computer, which calculates the performance index, right? Remember, performance computer will calculate the performance index. Okay, this performance index phi, given formula by given by this formula MRR by C1 plus all these things. Okay, what is C1? C1 is the cost of machine. You see, all these parameters are taken into account. The cost of the machine, operator, right, per unit time. For example, you're giving him maybe a $10 per hour. So you calculate it per unit time, per minute, per second, like that. So cost of tool and regrind, that is also taken into account. Tool changing time, right? Basically number of hours. Terminal allowable width of flank wear, that is regarding the milling cutter. This is an adjustable parameter beta. You take it based on the this considerable value. It determines the type of the performance index. If you are taking beta as 1, performance index is the reciprocal cost per unit. Okay, basically what this performance index will indicate, right? Significance of this will depend on your beta value. If you're taken beta as 1, this is the reciprocal cost. This gives you the reciprocal cost per unit. If it is 0, then performance index gives the production rate. If it is between 0 and 1, it takes into account both the cost per part and the production rate. Okay, so this varies, and therefore the performance index will have different value, different significance. Okay, so this phi, performance index, is what is important here. Now you see, I'll tell you what is happening. Once that phi is given by the performance computer, this optimization computer will try to ensure that phi is maintained, performance index. For example, it was calculated to be 0.5. So that 0.5, this optimization computer will try to ensure that 0.5 is maintained. How? By either changing the feed rate or either changing the speed. Basically what it will do is, it will there is something called gradient method. Okay, it will change the feed rate in steps. It will change the feed, okay, feed and speeds in steps. For example, every cycle you are changing, for example, 0.001, right, feed rate for every cycle, and speed also considerably, like for example 50 maybe. So changing these two things, okay, minimal changes of these two things, you are checking how is it affecting the performance index. If the performance index is increasing, you will increase it more, right? So trying to ensure that performance index 0.5, let's say, is maintained. Okay, that's what is happening. So that gradient method is what will be implemented. So you'll make changes in increments. Okay, so that will happen in milliseconds. Okay, so that the data can be given, right? What is to be done? Feed rate is to be changed, or speed is to be changed. Okay, and this speed and feed corrections are also sent to the data resolving subsystem. Okay, that is also given to take into account this data. The processing will involve these factors also. Okay, is it clear? Adaptive control with optimization. You see, the problem with this system, you see, out of the two, adaptive control with constraints and adaptive control with optimization, the adaptive control with optimization is the least used, you can say. Constraint one is more used, ACC is more used. Why? We'll see. Why? What is the drawback with ACO? You see, problem with online measurement of the tool wear. You are not able to calculate the tool wear rate, right? Simultaneously, when the processing is happening, there are no what do you call compatible sensors available yet, right? To directly measure the tool wear. Okay, so because of that limitation, no industrially acceptable methods developed for the direct measurement of tool wear. Yes, you are able to calculate it with the help of formula. I told you, right? TWR formula was given, but that depends on certain variables, right? Taken through the sensors. But direct tool wear, in direct measurement of tool wear is not possible yet. So what the indirect measurement will do, it will make a proportion, right? It will say that if the cutting force and temperature are high, then the tool wear is also high. So that's indirect measurement. But what if it is dependent on something else, right? More variables are involved. So this is the problem with the tool wear rate measurement. So right here, you see, it can be caused by process variations other than tool wear, such as workpiece hardness or cutting conditions, for example. So it makes it difficult to identify the tool wear effect, which is very important when calculating the performance index, right? From the effect of the other parameter variations on the measurements. So because of that limitation, tool wear, ACO system is not predominant in the industry. ACC, adaptive control with constraints, is used quite often. Okay. Is it clear? ACO system or doubts? Okay. You see, we have already discussed the benefits, right? In the first unit, increased production rate. How are you able to achieve the increased production rate? We know that we are changing the feed rate, right? We are trying to ensure that there is optimal feed rate being set so that we can process it faster. So that increases your production rate, isn't it? Increase tool life also. You see that your tool is now being saved, right? Tool wear rate, all of that, all of those things are calculated, and you're trying to ensure that cutting load, the cutter load on the tool is not exceeded the threshold limit, right? Maybe the tool can handle, let's say, 1500 newtons, as we have seen in that example. So if it exceeds that, then the tool life will be affected, right? Although it will not break suddenly, right? But the tool life will be affected. Instead of working for maybe 500 hours, it will work for 400 hours. So because you're ensuring this adaptive control technology is ensuring that the load is maintained constant, the tool load is maintained constant. So that increases your tool life. Greater part protection. If the tool is safe, the part is also safe, isn't it? And you're trying to ensure that the quality of the part produced is high because of this, the sensors being installed. You are if the tool is being monitored properly, automatically the part will also be protected, isn't it? Any variations in the cutter load will lead to tool failure. If not for tool failure, it will have an effect on the design specifications of the part. Less operator intervention, right? Because the adaptive control technology is ensuring those strategies which are programmed, they are ensuring that optimal values are being set. So the operator intervention becomes less, right? Only those who are responsible for programming the system, right? That consumes much of the time. The strategy setting, right? All those calculations, what is to be done by the system is to be decided, right, by the programming team. But the operator will not have much intervention, isn't it? When it comes to limitations, you see, major drawback. This is the first point is applicable to your adaptive control with optimization. Okay, what the drawback was, the unavailability of suitable sensors, right? So sensors which are not that have a reliable operation in the manufacturing environment, you are not able to measure the tool wear directly. So that is a drawback, because the AC system has optimization. ACO system is a part of AC system, right? Adaptive control system. So we're considering both systems limitations here. Another problem is the interface of an AC system with CNC units. As yet, manufacturers have not standardized interfaces. So there are no standard interfaces to link the adaptive control system with the CNC system. Okay, the programming and everything of the tool I'm sorry, the movement of the tool, workpiece, all those, that is a separate program, isn't it? So that you have to interface with your adaptive control system, right? So that standardized interfaces have not been developed, right? That's another limitation. And another limitation is your cost. Cost would be high, isn't it? The initial research and development to decide what strategies to be implemented, how is it to be implemented, right? The computations involved, uh, microprocessors, etc. All those will cost you. So the initial investment is high, right? So that is another limitation if you're looking at cost aspects. Doubts? Because we have come to the end of this PPT. Any doubts throughout the PPT? Anything that you want me to explain again? You see, from your exam point of view, uh, basically there are only two questions you can expect from this adaptive control topic. Either they'll be asking adaptive control with optimization or adaptive control with constraints. So the two systems, the two methods that we have, so these two methods are only important as far as the adaptive control is concerned. The second part of your fifth unit is automated inspection, right? That is CMM and machine vision. So either those topics, those two topics, or these two topics. Okay, so it's quite straightforward. Fourth and fifth unit are quite straightforward, you can say, right? Not much topics. Okay, but just that you have to understand what is the concept behind all of this. Yes, no doubts. We'll end the meeting. It's already 12:30, right? If there are any doubts, please ask. Fine, sir. Somebody has asked a question. Since the is the AC system adapts to the situation and performs operation automatically? Yes, that's what it does. The strategy we have kept, it follows the strategy and it changes, it adapts to the situation. I told you, right? Maybe the spindle deflection is more. Okay, it checks that and it changes either the speed rate or the speed. It depends on the process, but when it comes to turning and milling, speed and feed are what is being changed. Okay, because it is those are what are the major factors, right, responsible for either the temperature being of temperature of the workpiece rising, or the spindle deflection, right, the cutter load rising. Because of the cutter load increased, you have more deflection on the cutter, right? Or it could be vibration, right? Vibration is also another problem. So when it senses all these things, it adapts to the situation and solves the problem, either the vibration problem or the temperature problem, or it tries to maximize the productivity. As I told you, that feed rate, it is trying to ensure maximum, right? Like for example, we have a limit of maybe 1 mm per revolution. Okay, but if with your conventional programming, you have set it based on the geometry, based on the uh, part of the geometry wherein there is more cutter load, right? So but here in the adaptive, you're trying to change it dynamically. so that we can have it faster. Let's say I'll give you another example. Since you have asked that question, you see, let's say we are processing this part. Okay. Let's say we are processing this part. Okay. Now, when the tool is moving, okay, it started from here. It is trying to face it. Okay. It is trying to, what do you call, machine the side part of it. Okay. Sides. We are looking at the top view. This is the top view. Okay. So this is the tool. Okay. As seen from the top view. So when the tool is moving, it is moving like this, right? It will move and it will machine it. You see, when it comes here, you see, when the tool is moving here, is it processing? Is it machining? No, right? So it senses this air gap, right? There is this air gap. Now, what the system will do, the adaptive system, what it will do, because it has sensed that there is no machining being performed, it will increase the feed rate in this portion of the time, in this portion of the workpiece, right? This portion, what you're seeing, I'm sorry, another color. This portion, right? Here, one feed rate will be maintained. Okay. As soon as it senses there is an air gap, it will increase the feed rate. Why? Because there is no machining being performed, and I have to go here. The tool has to go here, right? So it will increase the feed rate. In your conventional, you cannot change the feed rate, right? Dynamically, but the system will do here. Adaptive system will ensure that whenever it senses air gaps and senses that there is no machining being performed, it will increase the feed rate. So this is just one example of the air gap. It could be, I told you, right? Change of depth of cut. The depth of cut is varying, right? The depth of cut is like this. This part has to be removed, the upper part. Okay. So when the tool comes, here is a lower depth of cut, here is a higher depth of cut. So feed rate will change here. In an adaptive control system, will change the feed rate to ensure that the maximum load on the cutter, okay, is within the permissible limit, so that it can increase the productivity. Is it clear? Whoever asked that doubt, how is it able to adapt to the situation and perform the operation automatically? Yes. Okay. Fine. Any more doubts? Okay, then we'll end the meeting. Thank you.